do 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 do. Sunday sharp do 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 do. Sunday sharp do 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 do. Arr. Hello, hello, hello. Greeting, welcome, salutation. Whatever other kind of welcome you like. Yeah, here we are. Another Sunday. Back at the bench. Doing another diamond painting. Although this one isn't of a pretty lady. This one is a Banshee. So lots of black and howling going on. So yeah. Well, nobody here yet, so I shall carry on dabbing down black drills until people do turn up. Assuming someone's going to, because you should never really make the assumption that people are going to turn up for a live stream. I know the old saying, if you build it, they will come, exists, but yeah, not necessarily. Especially as today is Mothering Sunday. Or Mother's Day. Whichever one you want to call it. Well, it is here in the UK anyway. Might be different in other parts of the world. Yeah, so it's been a fairly busy week. Work's not exactly been quiet. We've got the diamond painting I started last weekend finished, framed and hung. Bit of work done in the garden, not much because it's been raining a lot of the week, or blowing a hoolie. Yeah, trying to, I don't know, figuring things out, shall we say. Looking at what I can do to lighten the load, as it were, on bike packing trips. So I'm not carting around everything including the kitchen sink. Because it's okay when you're on the flat or going downhill, or you've got tailwind or no wind. If you've got a bit of wind, or you're going uphill, yeah, every little bit of weight does count on a bike. So I was doing some working out, and the routes I kind of have planned out for 2 days are both up in the around about 100-mile range, shall we say, which I know to some people isn't that far on a bike. I'll do that in a day, easy. Yeah, but I'm old, broken and unfit, so that's not going to happen. Yeah, if I took the absolute minimum gear, set off at ridiculous o'clock in the morning, and just kept going constantly, not stopping to look at fun or interesting things, or stopping to have a good break, or Stop for a ciggy, let my butt and my legs and my hands recover a bit before setting off again. And yeah, I could probably do 100 mile in a day, but it wouldn't be fun. It would be me constantly looking at the clock and the mileage done and the mileage left to do and working out how many more or what mile an hour I've got to do if I want to get it finished before it gets dark. And not that I've got lights, so I could easily carry on cycling into darkness, but I'm pretty sure my body and legs just could not do 100 miles in one day. If I had some training and built up to it, then yeah. But the farthest I've cycled in about the last year is like, I don't know, 5 or 10 miles. So howdy, Linkbot. Yeah, that's what we're going to be mostly planning on. And just see how far we can get. And having the camping gear with me, presuming I can find somewhere to actually sneak off and set up a camp of some description. In somewhere that's not entirely horrendous, like 20 feet off the side of a main road or something like that. Somewhere in the middle of nowhere, preferably quiet, no one around. And also preferably way more than 2/3 through the distance, or at least 2/3 through the total distance to cycle. Just so that day 2 is a lot easier. The thing is, as I found on my first long distance, as it were, bike ride that I did, which was the Boudica Way, and I was planning on camping on that one. If I get too close to the end, as it were, to the point where I'm like, I'm going to be able to get home if I just carry on going, then I'll do that. Although, in theory, I mean, I did Yarmouth to Thetford, which then adding in Thetford back to home is 92, 93 mile, I think. About the last 40 miles of it, I'm no more than 20 miles from home. It basically would be doing a loop around where I live. So that might get a bit awkward. But at least I'll have a rough idea of where I am, though. Might even go, I know somewhere. Oh, pardon me. Yeah. It's also a case of on the first day of that ride, there will be plenty of places to stop and get supplies. Day two, not so much. So it'll be a case of making sure I've got enough to get me to somewhere the next morning. Bearing in mind, I will be up early because I just usually am, even when I'm not outside camping and got wildlife and stuff. So yeah, like there might be shops along the route, but if they're little village shops, they might not be open early enough. But then, if I've got all day, I suppose I could hang around outside one if I've got enough to see me through till opening time. Not that I'm likely to be hanging about too much. Is that just me and you here, Linkbot? I think it is, isn't it? Perhaps it is Mothering Sunday and everywhere, and everyone is doing stuff with family. These things do happen. Now, I know the clocks have changed already in America, and we've got another couple of weeks left yet before ours do. So that will factor into it. Yes, so basically I'll take like a stove, a fuel source. Won't necessarily fill up all the water bottles before leaving home because I want to fill them up on the route by stopping at shops. Water bottles and Coke bottles because let's be honest, if it's hot, I'm more likely to pour the water over me to cool me down than I am to drink it. But and you can't go wrong with sugar and caffeine. Keep the old body going. Although you do need carbohydrates and complex carbohydrates, so you don't just crash when you burn through all the sugar. It's all it's all fun. And then you get the other side of when you're cycling through the middle of the back end of nowhere in Norfolk. There is usually only one road. And that road may well be an A road, which is one down from dual carriageway, so it's national speed limit and cars hurtling along it, buses, lorries. It doesn't bother me, but I'd rather not be riding on one for hours on end. Well, I could probably split it up into 2 days, two separate rides, and do like Yarmouth to home and then, or maybe Yarmouth to this and home. That's still 60 odd miles. And then do home to this to Thetford to home in a loop, which would be probably about another 60 miles. Oh well. Basically, having done the Pedder's Way, the idea struck me to just basically do the lap of Norfolk. I'd see if I can find my little book that Mary got me on the Rebellion Way. And I think that does actually basically do the loop. And it's got the full directions in there. It was, I think it was all planned out, figured out, and what have you by Guy Kesterman. YouTuber, bike journalist, all around good dude, it seems, really. So I might have to just take a look at that because it might actually have a more sensible route than whatever Google Maps might throw at me. And it'll have things like where shops are and good places to stop. And if I were to get anywhere remotely close to Thetford, then yeah, it'd be easy. Just hide up somewhere in Thetford Forest. Just come strew my tarp between a couple of pine trees and job done. Oh, pardon me. That'll be the chips again coming through from yesterday. Still no one here. Even Linkbot's abandoning me now. Oh dear. What else have we got? We can waffle on about for a bit. So I've got a bit more weeding done in the garden. Did actually buy another plant today to go in. A Cystius or broom, or as Mary and I call it, a cystitis plant. I think it's a relative of gorse, if you're familiar. Basically, it's a hardy perennial shrubby type thing. It's very erect and upright growing. We kind of wanted to get out somewhere just to get out somewhere today. But most of the places we would normally go, like garden centres and the like, we figured were likely going to be absolutely jam-packed with people taking Mum out for Mother's Day. And we figured, yeah, we don't really do crowds, so where can we go that chances are no one's going to take their mother for Mother's Day? So we ended up at Home Bargains and B&M in Thetford, which are two discount stores. They sort of sell a bit of everything. I mainly got snacks and Cystius. It was some Seabrook's roast chicken flavour crisps, which are probably going to be nuclear strength, which is good. Some soft mints, pot noodles. Well, noodle pots. They aren't pot noodles, but these ones actually taste like food rather than pot noodles, which just taste like what they are, which is just water chemical nastiness with some noodles in it, or bits of noodle in it. These ones actually have full-length noodles. Which is far nicer. Yeah, I think that was about it. So possibly next weekend we might go to Tarum Garden Centre, have a look around there, mainly to see if they got any fishies I might be interested in, or I've got space for. Now I've got a couple of I've got 3 empty tanks now, having had the clear out last week. I say clear out, sold a bunch. So yeah, I can do quarantine. I could do a couple of species if I wanted to and keep them separate. Well, providing no more plex have no more babies. I'm starting to think that Bertie and Spotty might have reached the age now where they no longer do the breedies, which I can thoroughly understand. It's got bloody hard work for both of them. Bertie producing the eggs and then Spotty sitting there for 5 or 6 days wafting them. So they're not young. They've got to be, what, 8 years old now? Maybe older. I can't remember when I got them. So might have to put together another pair of bristly noses, just commons, just to keep the numbers coming. And as I already have a smallish female in Big Tank, I think I might just need to have a smallish male as well in another cave. Or move Doug out of his tank and move a pair into Doug's tank. I know Doug is breedy age, and does do breedies. But he's a big boy, and if I start putting, say, less than robust specimens of the female gender of bristlenose in there, he may well beat them up quite badly. Because he does tend to get a bit rapey, shall we say. Well, I've had him a good few years now as well, so actually thinking most of my fish I've had for a good few years. That's all the black done in that column. Yay! Now it's just the really dark blues. Well, I'm going to have a swig and a cig first. Then have a think about things. Oh. Ooh, pardon me. That's not how it is one. Come here. One downside of doing diamond paintings. Once you've done several, you keep finding the little drills all over the place. Because you'll drop one, there's be randomly stuck to your arm or on your lap or something, you stand up and it falls off, or and you'll be walking along going, what is that in my shoe? Why does my foot hurt? Or you'll be at work and someone will point out that you've got one stuck to your elbow. And you think, well, I've been there all day then. Yes. And hopefully we'll get this one finished this week, and then we might do something a bit different. Might do some of the not Lego. We have a human. Unless Linkbot's back again. Actually, it just dawned on me looking at the picture on screen. Doesn't look too dissimilar to Brittany Slay's. It's a bit less of her in that kind of area. We have two peoples. Ooh. Is it two peoples or one bot and one person, or two bots, or two peoples that don't want to chat? Oh. Yeah, so what else have I been up to? Oh, there's Linkbot back again. Figured as much. What other stuff is I can rattle on about? She came home from work. Oh, it was two bots. Actually came home from work yesterday and it was light. It wasn't pitch black. First time since September. So yeah, in a couple of weeks when the old clocks go back, I will be coming home in daylight every day. Wow. That'll be interesting. Maybe then the people walking down the cycle path might even see me. Or I might see them before. No, I'm like 20 feet away from them. You know, walking around at night with just your phone out. Holla, Samuel, how the devil are you? Or should I say holla back? If you're old enough to get the Gwen Stefani reference. Was that Gwen Stefani or was that No Doubt? Holla back. That was Gwen Stefani solo. At the dog park. Mit the dog. Mit the Hund. Would be the German. Oh, Christ. Ow, 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 ow. Oh, cramp in my hamstring. Oh, not what you want. Oh, stretch that out. Ooh. That came out of nowhere. No warning about that. That's what I get for speaking German, I guess. Oh. Ow. Well, at least I didn't pull the muscle, so that's a bonus. I think I'm going to leave it stretched out in front of me for a bit, rather than hooked up underneath my chair. Yes. So give doggo fuss for me, because I always fuss the doggos. Got plenty of doggo friends that come to see me at work, because they know they'll get a treat and a fuss and a butt scratch. Well, apparently I'm supposed to serve the human before the dog, but I think that's wrong. I think the dog should be served first. We've had perfect weather. We've had uh, chilly and blowy for most of the week. Bit of rain, not too bad, but yeah, not exactly pleasant to be out and about in. Yeah. So I'm not worried about the tan. Comfortable enough to be outside for prolonged periods, but not so warm that you cook. Because if it starts getting warm, or hot, I just really don't want to be outside. Nope, too hot for me, which is why I tend to get most of my chorage done in the mornings, especially when it starts getting warmer. And especially if there's any gardening type stuff to do. I'd rather do it in the cool of the morning than blazing heat of the afternoon. But then I'm a Brit, and I'm a Brit that doesn't do heat either, so dry, not windy, and in the 60s, maybe low 70s. That's about perfect for me. I can actually do stuff without turning into a molten pile of ooze, which isn't a good look. Right. Now, I think we're going in pretty much numerical order. Everything's green. As long as it's not Soylent Green. Yeah. Given what you had the last couple of years, the longer it all stays green and moist, the better. You don't want a bunch more wildfires going through. Because nobody wants that. Yeah. That's one of the reasons why wild camping is technically illegal over here. It's because people are idiots. They'll go, yeah, we're camping, let's have a big campfire and set fire to half the forest. Usually because, they've been drinking as well. But also people just have a tendency to leave a mess behind them. Trample everything down, pull everything up. They won't hunt for dead wood, they'll cut live wood out of trees or just cut entire trees down. Then get upset when they get told they can't do it anymore. Whereas those of us who leave the place we've been camping looking basically exactly the same as it did before we got there, suffer. Although I say it's I think the general theory is as long as you're quiet and respectful and don't make a mess, you'll be okay. Especially if you're on your own and there's not a big group of you. And I'd guess chances are if I end up on someone's land, especially anywhere remotely local, I probably know them anyway. Joy. Help somebody get a kite out of a tree, oh dear. Being all heroic and gentlemanly. Don't fall out of the tree. And what I will remember to do this next time I go camping like that is I will remember to spray mosquito or insect repellent all over any bits of me that might be remotely exposed. Just so I don't wake up in the morning with a whole heap of mosquito bites on like the top of my head or my legs. I'm absolutely eaten alive that last time. Actually, yeah, the worst ones were on my lower back, I think. Basically, where my t-shirt had ridden up as I slept, and they managed to get into my sleeping bag and start eating me. And it wasn't like I stopped anywhere damp or near a water source either, so I'd kind of expect it if I had. Although, given what the rest of that ride was like, we're getting molested by flies basically the whole way. Oh, pardon me again. That's a sign I need more wax in the pen. Yeah. What I was going to waffle on about. I don't think there really is a lot. Oh, we have a comment. Oh, get out. No, that's Linkbot back again. Try not to smack into the camera. So we can dig some of this wax out where it's decided to go. That'll do. No worries, Mikey. You keep up, catch up with your sis. Have a good one. And say hi to your sister for me. Not in a pervy way, you know what I mean. Just in a random weird English dude says hi. Have a good one, buddy. Yeah. Get you something to watch later as well. Something to send you to sleep. I wonder if there is anyone who actually does that. Uses my videos as a sleep aid. It'd probably give you nightmares, but well, now big bunch with some cousins here in town. Sleepy. So yeah, don't stick the replay on later then, because you will fall asleep on the couch. Find something a bit more lively and exciting as entertainment. Like literally watching paint dry. That's all of them. So these and ends. Numbers, wowzers. Yeah, so I don't think I'm going to be here for the full 2 hours today. I'm feeling a bit hungry already, and I also need a snooze. Had another one of those, what I call a night of two halves. So went to bed, usual time. Yeah, about 11:30. Went to sleep pretty much straight away, no worries. Woke up at 2:30. Then couldn't get back to sleep again because I woke up and I was just wide awake. It was like, it's not even worth bothering trying to go back to sleep. So I was up for, basically 3 hours, so about 5:30, and then I managed to, I was like, yeah, I can go back to sleep now. And then didn't wake up till nearly 8:30. Thankfully, it's my day off, so that's not too bad. Hopefully, it doesn't happen tonight, though. Although, if it does, it might give me a chance to get ahead on the chores. Well, I say chores, water changes. It wouldn't be too bad, I don't think. Get those done ahead of schedule. Oh, I did miss an M. There's another one there. One more F. I want the numbers. And then it's back on the blacks again. Yay. You know, there's a lot of one colour in a diamond painting when you open it up and there are two bags of the same colour and they're both full. Usually not the best of signs. Let's do this properly. Start with number 1. Because there aren't any over there. There aren't any there. They're all just over here. They're all 3s, 6, 7, 8. Yeah. I can't call it a chore. Yeah. Yeah, but it's something I have to do. So it's, yeah. Although now the stocking numbers have dropped. Evening, Knotted Pumpkin. How are you doing? Welcome aboard. I think it's my first time seeing you here. Just diamond painting and chatting. see what comes up as subjects that we can waffle about and chat about. We don't have any real. We try and avoid politics and religion, but sometimes it can't be helped. But other than that, we talk about most things. Mm-hmm. Finally caught me live instead of a replay. Oh, thank you very much. You're one of those mysterious replay crews, are you? Ah. I knew there were some people that watch your replay because, well, the numbers reflect it. You sort of go on YouTube Studio and go, hang on, there weren't that many people in the live stream. Yeah, welcome aboard. So if you've been watching on replay, you'll know roughly what happens. I natter about whatever. I do some crafty type stuff or fishy type stuff. There may or may not be bodily functions. There will be a ciggy in a minute because, well, why not? So are you a Brit, an American, Aussie? Do I actually know you is the question. Because I do sometimes have people show up on my streams that I actually know in real life, which is quite weird. In the old, from where the old, so I'll always remember it as a kid in the library. It was, back when it was the old card system, the Dewey card system. There was the section on the counties. And the bees, it was beds, Burks, and Bucks, which always made me chuckle. Yeah. But yes, Bedfordshire. Yeah, I've been there more than a few times when I was younger. Not for quite some time, but so I'm originally from Hertfordshire, which some of it still comes through in the accent. I've not gone entirely Norfolk yet. The more tired I get, the more Norfolk I get. It's kind of weird because I've only lived in like Stortford, Hertfordshire for like 10 years. Pretty much, other than year and a half somewhere really wet and nasty, Wales. I've been in Norfolk for basically the last 40 years almost. So I should be sounding proper Norfolk now. But I've been fighting it and fighting it all these years. No, I don't want to sound Norfolk. But yeah, it just creeps in. The more tired I get, the more Norfolk I get. So we get to like, oh, get me and my better half Mary together and we're both tired. Oh dear. Because she's proper Suffolk and I start turning Norfolk and we would probably need subtitles. Yeah, it's although thankfully I think we've got most, if not all of my fairly regular American viewers are understood how to pronounce British things in a British accent. So the sh is for Shire is known, at least. With a lot of the Norfolk place names, there are plenty of people just outside Norfolk who can't pronounce them, so we don't worry about that too much. It's actually something I occasionally do. Find a video of someone visiting Norfolk or doing a tour or whatever, just to hear how badly they butcher the pronunciations of the place names. But then, there's a village, a hamlet that's attached to the town I live in, and it's called, but it's spelled Hargham, Hargham, right? Which Hargham makes sense, doesn't it? Following the rules of the English language, how it's spoken in England. Yeah, except it's not. It's in Norfolk, so it's Hargham. The GH is pronounced as a V. You're like, what? It's the way to tell a local from an interloper. I think this row would probably make more sense to do the all the other numbers first, not the blacks. Yeah, it can be. It's bad enough for us Brits. So I mean, how foreigners can sometimes even manage. I mean, I don't think there's any other language in the world where you could have a Polish polish or do some reading in Reading. You know, I don't think any other language in the world works that way. It's only the Brits. You capitalise the first letter and you change the entire pronunciation of the word. For what? But then, let's say English is made up of so many different languages, so many different influences over so many centuries. I mean, originally, English came from the Angles because it was Anglish. East Anglia, the Angles. So you could say that Norfolk is probably closer to true English than any. Norfolk and Suffolk probably closer to true English than anywhere else. But even then, we've got Dutch, Danish, Norwegian, all sorts of influences on the place names. The Roman. Heck, we even got a place just called Borough. Burgh. They didn't give it anything in front of that. They just Borough. I mean, admittedly, it's literally just a Roman encampment or Roman fort, but I think it was probably something to do with Boudica and the Iceni. Growing up, I was forced to study Latin, which makes English simple. So we're probably around the same age, and I wasn't forced to study Latin. I actually chose to do it in high school. And I only got to do 1 year of it, and I don't think the teacher actually spoke Latin. I think it was one of those ones of sounding confident enough that you get away with it. Yeah, I do enjoy looking into the etymology or the where words came from originally. And then you see someone ask something really silly like, do the French have a word for entrepreneur? That is French. Yeah, so yeah, it was French and Latin I did at school, so no wonder I got confused. Studying it up to GCSE level and dropped it straight after. Were you by any chance in a Catholic school? Or a convent? I was like, unless you are considerably older than me, that's a very random thing. Although, given some of the subjects I get taught these days, I think Latin's probably more useful. Boarding school in Hart. Oh, well, there you go. Oh, I probably know the school. I'm originally from Bishop Stortford, so if it's anywhere around that area, I probably know the school. They were preparing you for oh God, yeah, I know. I know, Preston's. Yeah, that makes sense. Oh, the closest equivalent here will be Wyndham High School, which is state school, but state school with delusions of grandeur. Like if they could make you pass an 11 plus exam to get into the school, they would, but they can't. And we're talking that their sixth form students have to wear what was it? The boys basically have to wear a business suit, and the girls can wear a dress, but it has to be one color and cover everything up and be knee length. You're talking about 16 to 18-year-olds. They do not want to be dressing like that. And if they do, they're not the sort of 16 to 18-year-olds you want anywhere near you. They're going to be the most insufferable oiks you've ever met. The kind that look down their noses at everyone, think they're better, until you prove otherwise. Yeah. And then we've got Wyndham College, which is a boarding school as well. It's actually in Morley St. Botolph. They called it Wyndham because they don't want to put St. Botolph on their uniform, I guess. Yeah, I went to Wyndham High. Suffice to say, I didn't fit in very well. St. Trinians were like religious called us. No, your spelling is absolutely fine. Don't worry about it. I'm used to reading internet comments and chat comments, and they're quite frequently misspelt or no grammar or people using text to speech, and it goes all pear shaped. So what brought you to my channel? Was it fishies or diamond paintings or history, or I'm guessing not scale models? There's all sorts of weirdness on my channel. People tell me, no, you should only do one thing. If you want to do another subject, start another channel. And I'm like, I haven't got enough subscribers to do that. As I found, if you stick to one subject and it's not reactions or reviews or reading Reddit posts or all the other things, there's like infinite amounts of things you can do. If you base it on a hobby, there's only really so much you can talk about one hobby. So I sort of diversified. I studied woodworking, fishing hobbies, spin, weave, wood turning, 3D printing. As we do pretty much a lot of similar things. That's good to know. Yeah, we did have woodworking classes, but unfortunately our woodworking, or whatever it was called, teacher at the time, was, how can I put it, one of the ones that doesn't make the subject fun or interesting. You'd see a screwdriver placed not in the well in the middle of the bench, or something like that, and stop the entire class from doing anything until he'd explained how bad it was. And it's like, I just put it down to pick up another screw, or pick up the position the next piece, or whatever it was. But it's not going anywhere. Yes, I know the health and safety and what have you. Although it wasn't really health and safety back then, it was just him being pedantic, I'm pretty sure. Yes, if it falls off, it could land on my foot, point down, and scuff my shoe slightly. That's about all it's going to do. We eventually got him back. We 9, 10. We sort of planned it so that he accidentally got a crack around the back of the head with a plank of wood. And yes, I may have been involved in that. It may have been my idea entirely. I think the worst one was the art teacher, though, who somehow had it in his head that everyone who took art wanted to become a professional artist. David McCall, engineer, finds health took a severe nosedive. Oh, sorry to hear that. Yeah, unfortunately, it happens to. I'm touch wood because my bench is actually made of wood. Yeah, I've not got anything too serious, but old injuries and stuff. Also, just being old. So now I just take it easy and work part-time retail in a hardware store. So it's a bit more interesting than like Sainsbury's or Primark or somewhere, but and so get to know the regular customers and have a laugh and a chat. And there's just more opportunities to learn stuff as well, which I'm always up for. Probably why I keep changing my hobbies around. Not changing them, but going back and forth, doing new things. So I'm constantly learning. Might not be anything too useful, but it's learning. Yeah, so I could have probably done engineering if I'd wanted to, but I really didn't exactly try too hard in school. Although the local hardware stores have patronised me because why does a wheelchair user need a box of screws? The same reason anyone else needs a box of screws. The way I see it is, I'm of an age where manners, blah blah blah, matter. So I wouldn't patronise you for wanting a box of screws or a screwdriver or a drill or something. I just try and make things easier for you. Give you a hand outside with stuff if it's a bit heavy or awkward, and hold the door and things like that. But to me, that's just being a normal, decent human being. Exactly. Built your fish tank stands. There's plenty of able-bodied people that struggle to build the ones that come flat packed, let alone make your own. Yeah, that's like mine. So we've got plenty of uh, customers of all walks of life, ages, ability levels. I just treat everyone like a human being. It seems to be the easiest way of doing it. And try and have a bit of a laugh and a joke and a smile. I think my general theory is if I can improve someone's day, then I've done a good job. I've been doing it so long, it just comes natural to me. I just know what the tools are. Brother-in-law didn't know there's more than one type of screwdriver. Yeah. You try explaining the concept of reverse threaded screws to some people. What do you mean it goes the other way? Yeah, it goes the other way. Why? Stop it loosening up because the thing it's on spins that way. Oh, yeah. And even weirder, I've got a left-handed screwdriver. As you can see, I'm right-handed. As for Phillips or posi screws that are reverse threaded, um, comes from my time with RC cars, because you do get quite a lot of metal to metal connections that do need a reverse threaded screw, and you've got to be able to tighten it up properly. And the problem with the reverse threaded posis or Phillips is that, well, you can't really tighten them up properly. Obviously, these days with the move towards Torx and what have you, it's not so much of a problem. Well, it's not a problem because Torx are the same either way around. And they strip just as easily, if not even easier. And unlike slots or Phillips heads, where if you got the wrong size, you can still just about get it in or out. With things like Torx, unless you've got the exact size, there's no way you're getting it in or out. Same with hex or Allen keys. But then again, I've got all of those. And annoyingly, because I drove RC cars, I was sponsored by both companies that are European or Asian and American, I had to have a full set of both, metric and imperial, which made life fun. Such is the joy of hobbies. Yeah. I think plumbing fittings are the most interesting with the measurements. No, it's a 15 mil. Yes, you need a half-inch fitting. No, a half-inch is 12.5 mil. Yes. I measured the pipe and it's 43 millimeters. Right. So you need 40 mil. No. Push fit and solvent weld 40 mil pipe are both completely different diameters. So that's why they won't work together. What? You need to find. You need to get a connector that connects push fit to solvent weld. Why would they do that? Because they're being awkward. The truth there is that the solvent weld pipe needs to be thicker because you're solvent welding it and it will partially melt. But yeah, it does get very interesting some days trying to figure out how to connect two things together. Yeah, you end up having a good grumble sometimes about why can't they just settle on one standard? Why are there about 73 different tack glands? Why can't they all be the same? One size fits all. Electrical stuff isn't quite as bad as plumbing, but it'd make life way too easy and we wouldn't need to stock about 10,000 different pieces of plumbing. And even something as simple as like a male to male or female to female adapter. Some sizes you just can't get one. So you end up fudging 2 or 3 parts together to make the one part they actually need. And obviously every joint you make is the chance for another leak. Which, let's be honest, nobody wants things that leak. And the other good one is usually barbecue fittings, annoyingly, is we don't sell barbecues, so why would we stock barbecue fittings? But we do sell gas fittings because hardware. But if we're selling gas fittings, we have to ask for the gas safe card, unless we know the person is a qualified gas fitter. People will come in, they'll be asking for the XY fitting so they can hook this random gas barbecue they bought off of God knows where up to a standard size gas bottle. You finally find one and yeah, well, I'll have that. Well, yeah, blah, blah. Okay, can I see your gas safe card? We need to see that for. Well, you're working on gas. Oh, Yellow's having a tan sesh. Did you manage to get the kite out of the tree? And are you going to go for the Mar-a-Lago look? The full orange? Or as we in the UK would call it, Fanta Man. Oh, God, I miss those adverts. They were hilarious. Quite lost because the tail was wrapped around the branch. Oh, no. Too high up or awkward to get to release it. Hopefully, whose ever kite it was wasn't too upset. More olive than gold. Well, olive to me means green, so. But that is the scale modelling coming through again. So I'm not far off the same skin tone as this Banshee. Jaundice. Pardon me. Oops, I leant forward at the wrong moment. Oh dear. So anyone who's upset by that, tough. That one did actually catch me by surprise. Jaundice. Quite how I've not got jaundice, I don't know. But I can't remember the last time I ate fruit. Well, I know I haven't eaten fruit for about 40 years. No, maybe not that long. 32 years since I've eaten any fruit. I can't remember the last time I had a proper portion of veg either. So, yay for the extra added vitamins and minerals they put in energy drinks or just in the vitamin tablet I take. I mean, it tastes vile, but it keeps me out of the doctors. Porphyria. That's me. That is. Go out into the sun and just instantly start burning. I mean, there's decent evidence that that's where the vampire myth partially started, or the myth that they can't do sunlight. Whilst from people with porphyria, really do your hands are a nightmare. Ah. Oh, what's that one? What's that plant called? Giant something or other. Not cow parsley. Look. Oh, I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head now. There's something that's been introduced to the UK and is an invasive species. Giant hogweed. That's the one. And if you get the sap from that on you, it basically means that part of your skin can never see sunlight again. Because it makes you completely reactive and you literally blister in sunlight. I've got to wear sunscreen on my hands. Kudzu. No, it's not kudzu. It's giant hogweed over here. Yeah, very similar to kudzu. Get the so it's not something like you get it off, you heal up, and you're good. It's like is it Lyme disease or whatever, that one that you get bitten by a tick and you can't eat red meat anymore? That kind of thing. It's going to affect you for many, many years. So obvious, it's yeah, get rid of it, get rid of it. Yeah, but no one really should be touching it, not without basically a full hazmat suit on. And unfortunately, it likes to grow in the places where people like to visit. Yeah, vampire hands. Random water blisters I don't know about until I stick hands in the pockets and pull out wet hands. Yeah, the infection is the problem. Which way you need. So if I get anything like blisters or whatever, I put pseudocreme on them once I've popped them. I know you're not supposed to pop them, but it happens. sometimes you don't realise you've got the blister until it does pop, and as you say, you get wet. Yeah. Sudocrem is the one I use, or Germaline, or Savlon. Well, I never found Savlon did much. They're all like antiseptic creams that you just put on like cuts and stuff. Well, Sudocrem is more known as a nappy rash cream. It generally works for everything. Back of my hands don't look great. Yeah, that one's starting to clear up now. As we all know, I'm generally fairly covered in scars most of the time. And it's getting to that time of year where all the bitey bugs will be out and about, and they'll be chewing on me again. So, yay. I'll be able to go out and do the gardening on a warm day and have to wear full length trousers and long sleeve shirt. When I did that last year, I still got stung by a bloody bumblebee, bitten by a horsefly, and stung by God knows how many. Yeah, pop them straight away, and then they dry out quicker. Otherwise, you're constantly going, oh no, no, oh, I've got to be careful, I've got to be careful. Yeah, if I've got a choice in the matter, I'd tend to do it in the bath, because then it gets a good wash straight away. Or at least just at home, so I can do it with something clean and sharp, like a scalpel. Pop it, let it drain, and then a couple of days later the skin hardens up again and job done. And I've never had much luck with those blister patches either that you can get. Is it Compeed and those kind of things? They're probably okay if you're not doing lots of walking about. Yeah, I just end up being stuck to the inside of my sock rather than my foot, and then they rub against the blister. Of all the subjects to be covering on a Sunday evening live stream, blister care with Sharpe. So I think the general consensus from the medical community is to not pop them. But again, that's more about getting infections in them than anything else. Yeah. Oh dear. You know, I've had, weirdly, considering I always wear shoes that are way too big for me, and my steel toe caps especially rub a lot at work, which I'm wearing for 6 hours a day wandering around. I don't actually get blisters from them. But I can guarantee if I try to walk more than a mile or so in my dress shoes, you know, my normal shoes, I would have serious blisters on the bottom of my feet. Greg, just got home from fishing. Hope all is well. All is well indeed, sir. Did you catch much? Anything interesting? Anything put up a good fight? And did you give it a chance, or were you using very heavy gear? I'll see the videos of people fishing for bass, and they'll be using, you know, a relatively small spinning rod, and then they've got like a multiplier reel and 15-20 pound braid on there, and you're thinking the fish is only weighing 3 or 4, you know, maybe 10 pound at most. What you doing? Just literally just pointing the rod straight at it and reeling it straight in. That's what you could do. 22 white perch. Get in my belly. Exactly. I've not obviously caught or eaten white perch because they're not in the UK. We have our own perch, the original perch, Perca fluviatilis. Very pretty fish. It's a maximum size of maybe 6 pound. I think the record is somewhere around there. But even a 3 ounce perch thinks it's about 80 pounds in weight. It's got the attitude of something hundreds of times bigger than it actually is. I mean, I have literally caught just barely longer than my finger on a worm about twice the length, and they've swallowed the whole thing. Greedy little buggers. But yeah, very pretty, very striking fish. And then you also have to remember about the dorsal spines, the pectoral spines, and the spines on the gill plates, which they're not afraid to use. Although at least they aren't overly slimy, unlike some fish. Bream, the Bramus Brahma. And bream aren't exactly pretty either. I've caught a couple of decent sized bream in the past, and both times I didn't realise I actually had a fish on. It was like reeling in, like your hook had got caught up in an old trash bag at the bottom of the lake or something. That's what it felt like, reeling in. The angle for your keychain. You don't want that on your keychain. That is solid stainless steel. It's a proper jeweler's anvil. You can wallop it with a hammer all day long. Yeah, it was an in joke in the scale modelling crowd I was a part of way back in the day. Inspired by Christopher Walken, you've got to have more cowbell. It was you've got to have more anvil. So some of us just randomly bought anvils. Some had proper ones, sensible size ones. I found the smallest anvil I could buy. It does actually come in surprisingly useful. What does it weigh? Let's say on it. That's 2 kilo anvil, so that weighs the same as a 2 litre bottle of soda. So yeah, 4.4 pound. Certainly wouldn't want to drop it on your foot. Let's put it that way. Oh yeah. And then there's a screwdriver. Did have a smaller one as well. Hang on, let's undo the bench vise. Yes, that is a fully functional bench vise. Yes, I know, Greg, you're sitting there wetting yourself with laughter almost right now. But it's the size, having the right size tool for the job. And when the job is scale model making, it's a very small tool, if you'll pardon the bad joke. And as we all know, the only people we should judge by the size of their tool are adult actors. Need one of those. I'll figure out what for later. I just need one. I mean, this is the thing, like scale modelling, watchmaking, jewellery making. It's all the same tools as you'd buy to work on a tractor. They're just miniaturized. I can't believe I'm going to do this. I think I might have actually just finished the first bag of the black for this thing. It's got 2 bags of black, and I'm on the 4th row, and I've almost finished the first bag. Then this is what happens when you start dabbing a Banshee. And that's a phrase I doubt anyone has ever said before in their life. So what are you doing? I'm dabbing a Banshee. What? Pardon? That is a semi-regular thing around here, though, isn't it? Saying things for probably the first time in history. Any weirder things happen at sea. Reminds me of the little bags of stuff we used to get in the 80s and 90s. Oh, yeah. 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 I remember those bags fondly. Back when you didn't know whether you were actually getting a bit of resin or a bit of boot polish, depending on how unscrupulous your dealer was. Or whether the resin had been cut with boot polish. And there was a way to find out, but no one really wanted to rub it on their shoes. Yeah, there are times when I actually would enjoy having a smoke like that again. But given how expensive everything else has gotten, probably out of my price range now. Certainly wouldn't be buying the quantities I used to buy it in, that's for sure. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, I've well, I enjoy adding a bit of MSG, modern monosodium glutamates, to my cooking. Just because it just makes everything taste better generally. I've yet to try it in something sweet rather than savoury. I think I'll give that a miss. But well, the problem is it comes in a great big bag, all logoed up and everything. Akinomoto, the good stuff. But it's not resealable. So it's like you cut the bag open and you're like, oh, right, now I've got a, yeah, so I've literally got baggies like that of white powder in my kitchen. It's all monosodium glutamate, MSG, but does look a bit suspicious. Although, as Uncle Roger does call it, salt on crack. So, if you're not familiar with the character, Uncle Roger is a I can't remember exactly which country is his ethnic origin. Is it Singaporean, Malaysian, Korean? Somewhere Asian. Who does food reviews, is a character of the comedian Nigel Ung. Um, and yeah, he's hilariously funny. But as he says, MSG, you know what it stands for? Make shit good. I thoroughly agree with him. But yeah, I didn't enjoy the old nose candy. I was more the I tried most things once, but I was definitely more of the chill outy and trippy kind of stuffs. I mean, I never did the H because I'm not an absolute idiot, and I never did ecstasy. So I've tried coke a couple of times and didn't really enjoy it, or it didn't really do much for me. Yeah, I certainly didn't try ecstasy because that makes you dance to really bad music. And on the list of things I don't want to do is dance to really bad music. Never done PCP. Yeah, I don't think I ever did that either. Yeah. HEMP, but yeah, it's sort of shrooms and weed. Yeah, the natural stuff I enjoyed, but the man-made stuff I was like, no, don't like the come down. Thank you very much. When, yeah, I know people who've taken one thing to get up, and then they have to take another thing to get back down again, and they're all over the bloody place. So yeah, I was a teenager in the 90s, so I know all about the rave culture. I just didn't want any part of it. Well, Greg's had lunch, so time for nap. Only time that pretty much perfectly, give you a Greg, because that's me 2 hours up. I'm gonna head downstairs and grab some in a munch, stretch my legs out, and I'll catch you all next week. So yeah, that's a bit of an abrupt ending, but hey, I spent most of it just sticking black drills down. So ugh. Have a great one. Same time next week, everyone. If you want to, if you don't, I don't blame you. Stay safe. Peace out. Rock on. Bye bye. Poodle tip. Sunday shop do 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 do. Sunday shop do 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 do. Sunday shop do 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 do. Mondays suck do 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 do. Mondays suck do 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 do. Mondays suck do 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 do.